Hello, this is Tresham Gregg, and I'm one of the Peace Fort officers here, and I'm standing in front of my ancestral home, which my parents, Ted and Mimi, renovated and lived in and raised our family in since 1947. And right now it is it's called the Fort Seward Condos, which is vacation rental. We have 3 units here, including my family home. And these buildings, this is part of Fort Seward, which was the first Army fort built in Alaska in 1904 as a peacekeeping fort. It kept the peace between the natives, the miners, the settlers, the fishermen, the cannery workers, and of course the Canadians. And so it really provided a lot of services and employment for local people. It really helped make the town come alive and survive for these many years. So my folks were some of the veterans who purchased this fort back in 1947 and moved here from Washington, D.C. after the Second World War. And my father was actually a woodworker. He made furniture and bowls and various kinds of artwork, and my mother did various different things, including some artwork and silkscreen printing for the posters of the town. She had a gift shop down the bottom of the hill, and was the ferry ticket agent, and then became the magistrate's assistant. And and we had, they were very famous for their parties. They were great hosts and cooks, and everybody was welcome to come to their house for a big party just at the drop of a hat. And we like to think that we can do that even today. We're hoping to create a draw for people to come to Haines for an extended period of time, stay with us, eat with us sometimes, go on beach hikes, go out on outdoor adventures, learn artistic skills, because the fort here has got many facilities that are underused and buildings that really need to be renovated. But we have ideas for what could happen in the future and how to make it happen. This is my sister Annette, and she's the main building renovator, sergeant in charge of just about everything, and the consummate hostess, fabulous cook, and her desserts are to die for too. House number 8 and 9. I live in number 9 on this side, and on number 8 we have an upper and lower apartment, which is part of the Fort Seward condo. So these are nice, spacious, beautiful apartments with cooking and cleaning. We have basement laundry and front porch, lawn, and of course we like to interact with you and have a good time as well. Lawn parties for cocktails at 4:30, etc. This is the hotel housing land. It's been a mainstay tourist attraction for many years. Originally operated by Clarence and Hilma Madsen. They were a Swedish couple that were part of the original group of veterans who purchased the fort back in 1947. And over the years it has been a hub for fun and good food. There's a great kitchen there, and for many years it was the place to go to eat. Unfortunately, it closed its kitchen down, I guess, a year or so ago. And it has a bar and many rooms in all of these places. It's really a lovely place. Unfortunately, it no longer is operating like it should. But then, at this point in time, nothing is. But it is for sale, and I'm hoping that somebody can invest and get a group of young people to run it and go out and find customers, bring them to Haines, have them stay here, do our programming, and hope for the best. But I think it's a winning combination into the future, because our fort here is really and our whole town here is a haven from the rest of the world's hustle and bustle. And it's one of the reasons why I called this the Peace Fort, not only because it was originally established as a peace fort, but also because it is very peaceful, and we can focus, and we can do things, and we can have some fun. I'm standing in front of the barracks building, the Chilkoot Barracks they called it. This is the only one remaining. There was two of them, one right beside it, that housed the enlisted men during the fort years here. And this building is huge and has big open rooms. Either one of these two wings has got, upstairs has got a huge area, about, well, as wide as that whole section there, and about 100 feet long. Big tall ceilings, wide open spaces, fabulous. We used to have skating parties there back in the old days. And of course it has an attic where we used to have a rifle range up in the back, and then a whole bunch of different rooms downstairs. We've had festivals here, actually. My father used to make the Strawberry Festival, and he had a merry-go-round that he built himself in this room down here. And then other rooms for different things, and the parade fields operated as part of the fair. And these are back in the old days, in the early, middle 50s. And so at this point it needs a lot of renovation, but it has great potential for art class spaces, accommodations, television studios, art studios, you name it. We just need to actively renovate the building. And we're hoping that at some point in the near future we can do that before it totally falls apart. These buildings are actually built to last forever, but of course they need upkeep. Well, here we are at the sculpture garden, which is in the ruins, the basement ruins of the barracks building that burned down in 1981 due to a fire in the corner of the building, which was where we had a print shop, and it was an electric fire and got caught in the middle of the night. And in fact, what we were doing is renovating the building to be an art center, and so we had actually taken out a lot of the lath and plaster that was in the various rooms. So when the fire took off, all the natural barriers were gone. And so the fire just whipped through the building. I actually had a workshop right in this room up here, and a bunch of art and various materials and stuff. And this was in the middle of the night again, so I go into the building and the place is full of smoke. Couldn't do anything. A little bit later, the fire moved over to the top of the room, or top of the ceiling there, and it sucked all the smoke out. So I went in, started passing stuff out, and pretty soon there was a line of people across the street moving the artwork just like this. So that was my first fire adventure here. But we're trying to repoint the walls and create new sculptures. Actually, this sculpture here, metal sculpture, is mine. And it was part of a grant that happened from Art Place America. So there was a number of different artists that got to do something in here as outdoor sculpture. That was my contribution, which is, I call it Aurora Altar. And it's got an eagle head on one way and the raven head on the other, heralding the marriage of the two main clans of the native people. And then that becomes part of the Aurora Borealis. And it's made out of stainless steel, so it isn't rusting. Right now I'm standing in front of the tribal house. This is actually a tribal house replica that was built by members of the Alaskan Indian Arts Program back in 1960. And it's all hand-hewed red cedar boards, shake roof, the interior just the way it used to be, and the house post, carved screen, and in the back is another painted screen. Inside are 4 totem poles and a carved screen, and a little stage where we used to do a number of shows. notably the Chilkat Dancers. This was built for doing the Chilkat Dancers show back in the late 50s and early 60s, and on into, actually I went on into through the 80s, I think. And then I took over the show and produced a theater program with the legends and the regalia and stuff. And that went on for a number of years as well. And then also we've had a number of community parties here. The Chilkat Guides would throw parties, and various other people. Even Moon Alice would come sometimes and perform big parties, everybody dancing, great fun. We can walk around the backside too and show you that. We actually have a natural little amphitheater here with stage, backdrop, and bank and grounds where we have often had outdoor parties here, the bands playing, and oftentimes the dancers performed here as well. And this, actually I painted the top part of this when I was a young person here. That's called the River Raven. And the bottom part was painted after that by Nathan Jackson. That's a killer whale. And the building also needs some help, but it's still here, and inside is pretty fantastic too. I carved a totem pole inside there when I was a youngster here too. So yeah, this was built in 1960 by members of the Alaska Indian Arts Chilkat Dancer Program, and we've had, as I said, wonderful parties here as well as many shows. Back in the old days, we were all learning to carve, and actually Bill Holm, the famous anthropologist from Seattle, came up to teach us a lot of carving techniques, and he actually carved and designed this pole here, which is raven and frog combination. Raven standing for spirituality, cunning, and the bringing of enlightenment, and the frog is standing for medicine. And this pole here, I actually made myself when I was 16. I designed it, and this raven looking in his reflection in the water dives in, pulls out the soul man out of the spirit realm, which is the underwater realm. And this carved screen was actually, I did not design, but I carved and painted it, and when I was working with the Alaska Indian Arts Program. And this is a split raven design. And actually has one eye is solid and the other one has the little marking on here. And our leader of the program was named Carl Heimler, and he actually had a patch on one eye. It was blown off in the war fighting in Fiji or something. So, and I didn't really do this on purpose, but that's just the way it came out, because he had to do each bunch in sections, and human error. We're standing in front of the old hospital building here at Fort Seward. This was where everybody in town was actually taken care of, not just the soldiers at the fort. But since the purchase of the fort in 1947, this building became the headquarters and the artistic production studio for the Alaska Indian Arts Program and the Chilkat Dancers. So they had there was a big totem pole carving revival here back in the late 60s and 70s. And I actually learned to carve here as well. I was one of the original group that founded the Chilkat Dancers and Alaska Indian Arts. And I was fortunate enough to have been involved with that, so I learned wood carving and costume making and painting designs. I learned mythology of the Tlingit legends and learned how to dance and sing like the old natives used to do. Anyways, this building it's a great facility for producing artwork. There's a huge studio inside here and all these little places and under the glass around here. There's another big studio up on above it that's not as tall as ceiling or anything, and not as big, but it's for different kinds of things. It's really fabulous. And then over here, the offices. And up on the second floor, there's rooms for rent. And on the third floor, there's another penthouse apartment kind of a place. And down in the basement is another big workshop. So this place is really fabulous. Of course, it needs renovation, needs help, like most of our buildings do. But in the bigger picture, this could be an integral part of a youth group coming and or several kinds of artistic events going on, and this can be a critical building. So there you have it. So this is the Chilkat Center, which is a great theater building and has other rooms, breakout rooms of one sort or another. And this was the old education recreation building of the fort, which the soldiers actually hauled over here from across the peninsula on the other side in a place called Pyramid Harbor. It was an old cannery building, and they hauled it and set it up and became their basketball court and their dance halls. And here's a picture of the soldiers and their wives and children and stuff when they were going to a ball here. It's the Valentine's Day dance. Well, as you can see, the Chilkat Center is a really massive building. The radio station is up there in that little second floor alcove there. KHNS, it's a really fabulous radio station. Then these windows here are the lookout from the lobby, which is a beautiful space for rent, all carpeted and with a kitchen and these beautiful windows. And we'll take you around the other side too. This building is actually owned by the borough, the Haines Borough, our local government. And it's really very well kept up. It's beautiful inside. It could house any number of special events, including conventions, seminars, workshops, and of course theater. There's a great 250-seat theater in there. Here's a totem pole which was carved by Alaska Indian Arts. It's a raven design. And there's another one over there, big pole. That space up at the top there, that's the dance studio. It's really fabulous. Big mirrors and nice tile floor, and it's just a state-of-the-art effort. And behind these doors is the theater. A great stage, lighting, sound, everything. This is one of the few buildings that doesn't need renovation, but it's key. We can broadcast from here across the planet from the Peace Fort, Haines, Alaska. Coming at you.